What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back and we're doing it a little bit differently today. We're here at the Sunshine Coast with our number one Darwin agent, Mr. Jacob Reynolds. What's going on, brother?
Thanks for having me, mate.
Absolutely. How's the trip?
It's awesome. Yeah, like like now that I live in Darwin, it's like when you come down to a place like this, it's it's a real luxury.
Yeah.
And this house isn't bad too.
Yeah, it goes all right, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. About the bloke that owns it though.
Yeah, no, we're not here to talk about the house today. We're here to talk about you, mate. We've been, we knew it was going to happen, but how well you've done it, and then the style you've done it in, and the potential for this to even go even further is huge. Tell us about your year. Like, what's been some of the biggest challenges you faced this year?
Challenges. There's been a few, I guess, challenges, but it's probably more excitement more than anything. The way I see the challenges now, it's more like ability. It's like opportunities to learn and get better. I always, every time something goes wrong, I call you. You're my go-to guy, so you know about all of them. But I think the biggest challenges is transferring. The biggest challenge for me is transferring from an agent to a leader. That's been really difficult for me. Trying to find that balance between. I love selling houses. Like that's my favorite thing to do. Like if you said make 100 phone calls today, I can't wait to get to work.
Yeah.
So managing people, which, all of our team is awesome, but that leadership component, I've really had to step back and take a look at myself and go, I'm not that good at this. I need to sort some things out. There's some real weakness there for me. So I think just becoming a leader, that's probably been the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll just continue to change your perspective on everything in leadership, as you grow, because you think you've got it figured out and you think you got your people figured out, and then someone will throw like a full curveball at you and you're just like, oh my God, where did that come from? Like, how am I going to deal with this? But you start to just stop caring too much about the little things, and just start focusing on what is important about your business, which is, what you've been doing with your marketing and the culture that you're creating, and then the work ethic that you've got there with your team. Like, like people are going to want to be around that, and you're going to attract the right people. So let's talk about these people you have attracted to your team. So you've done well. Like, because last time we were on this podcast show, maybe just over a year ago, there was only a couple of you in the office.
I can't remember, mate. Like, to be honest, we've done this a few times. I think last time we met, every time I meet you, I go through these. We sit down together because everyone thinks we talk every day, but we don't really. Like, I really try and be the least amount of headaches for you, but maybe the most successful as well. You know what I mean? Like, that's my vibe. Like, I want to try and so every time I meet you, it changes my perspective about my business in a really good way. Like, sometimes I find that I can have really honest conversations with you and have really honest answers. Yeah. Like and you're like that with me. I'll tell you when I think something, not in a bad way, but because you're my boy, Yeah. So when we met, I remember sitting there thinking like, I've made all this money and I can go out and spend it on a stupid car and whatever, or I can just go hard and create an environment that stresses me out a little bit, challenges me, but helps me create something that I never thought was possible. So I remember after that, I was like, no, I'm going to hire like 3 or 4 people straight away. Like I said, I did. And I was like, you've been asking me to get into real estate for ages. I'm just going to pay you what you want. I'll pay you what you want. I'll pay you what you want. You're all going to be buyer managers. And then from there, I'll turn you into agents. And the craziest thing that happened is all of these people saw the risks that I was taking and how much I was sacrificing for them, and they just wanted to go harder. They saw how hard I was going and setting the pace, and within like 2 or 3 months, all of these people that were buying managers were like, no, I want to be agents. And I was just lucky. I just had the right people at the right time, and it's just, you've seen what happened. It's just gone crazy. So
seriously has. That's the thing about leadership though, like a lot of people, they take on a buyer's agent into their team or an assistant, and they expect that assistant to do all of the work while they're chilling, and that just doesn't work out. And then there people are like, well, this person's not working out for me, or they're not going as hard as what I want, or you've always got to look at yourself as the leader. And it's like, if you're running 100%, the people behind you, if they're not running 100%, you can say to them, what are you doing? Do you want to be here or not? And then you're going to create that energy through your team for everyone to just work hard and kill it. So
true. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've learned that works well with leadership. I'm not a great inspirational guy. I don't sit there and I'm just practical. I just think do the fucking work. Like that's not, I don't know if I can swear on this. But,
You can fucking swear on this.
But so for me, I'm like the only way I can lead is just by working hard and setting the pace and creating, like setting an example. Because I'm not, you know, I can't sit down and do these motivational talks that you see and stuff. I'm just not the sort of guy, you know. I'd rather just set the pace, set the example, and you follow me. Sort of leadership. That's because that's what I resonate with. Like with you, you know, I can call you at 10 o'clock at night and we'll talk for an hour. Because you love it just like I do.
Seriously. Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a great leadership quality to have, you know, and all that other stuff, you know, you probably will become that. You know, like you probably will end up being that person. You just don't see it just yet, you know. So because everything changes, you know, like, but right now you are completely focused on, you know, dominating your marketplace, getting as many listings as you possibly can, which is awesome. You know, it's exciting. So you're in your office at the moment, but you've made some big plans to even step that up again. Are we allowed to talk about that on the show? Or?
We can, everything hasn't gone through yet, still conditional, but happy to chat about it.
Yeah, so you want to take the next step and get into a bigger office, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Again, just chatting to you and what's possible and talking about some of your growth steps. Like I'm almost like where you were maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you know, like that's, and you're like I bring up problems with you or things that I want to do, and you're like, man, I was in your exact position 4 years ago. So just, you know, and one of the things that you say is just go hard. And we look at how much properties cost down in your area. It's like 4 or 5 million to get into something decent. Where I am, it's 1.1. You know, so I'm like, I would be stupid to keep paying 60, 70 grand a year when I can pay a little bit more and have my own office.
Definitely. And
do the things that I want to do. So the reason I bought an office was like, well, I enjoy property. So I want to invest in real estate. So I'm like, I can invest in real estate and house this business that I'm creating. So so we made an offer on an office. It's going to be a lot different than if I was going to start an office or buy something. I wanted it to be a different type of something that I see in real estate, which I don't like, is like it's all this like classy. Oh my god, I've got this amazing office. Blah 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 blah. Like
if you don't wear a tie, don't come in.
Oh, it's like I don't want that at all. I want to create solutions for the people that come to work. That's my job. So I want to put a gym in there. I want to put a creche in there. I want to, if we can, we'll do food. Like all sorts of like. People come to work and they don't want to leave because it's actually a really enjoyable environment, but a very practical place to work.
Definitely.
And I'm just solving my own problems, but along the way, solving other people's problems, you know? So
it's so good.
Yeah. So the space that we want to create, hopefully I want it to be like a benchmark. This sounds crazy, but for the country, you know, like it's a really great culture. They offer all these different services and hopefully, you know, put us on the map up there.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. You're already on the map up there, bro.
Yeah,
you're going to be the #1 agent in Darwin very, very shortly if you're not already. You know, like it's, Dan, if you're watching, you know it's coming, brother.
He's killing it at the moment.
He is. He's killing it, but we got to keep him on his toes. You know?
He's doing like 200 sales. I'm doing about 140. So it's like, but it's so good. Like that's another good thing too, man. But like a lot of the people in the industry that are really good are really classy, you know, like him and I will have conversations and chat to each other, like, even though we go up against each other every single day, but we help each other a little bit.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's the cool part about it.
There's so much business for everybody, isn't there? You know, you don't need to, you know, full butt heads with your competition unless they're dicks, obviously. You know, then we're happy to.
We all know something.
But, you know, like someone like that, he's such a legend. So it's such a good thing. And if you beat him, he'd shake your hand and say, well done, and vice versa, right?
He texts me and says, man, like, he's like, you're dominating at the moment. You're absolutely killing it. Because like sales is one element of my company at the moment. Like, you know, building a rent roll. There's other verticals we're building at the moment, which we'll go into later. But and he recognizes that, you know, so it's like you want those sort of classy people, even if they're competitors, to, you know, to have good relationships with.
Definitely. The steps that you've got to take as an agent and then going into these positions and moves that you're about to, like, it does take you a little bit away from being a sales agent, like you said before, you know, so you're lucky that you've built this good squad around you right now to really support you. And we'll talk about some of those agents in a little bit, and I'm going to get a couple of them on the podcast soon. So
for sure,
we'll have a chat. But
what about you, man? Like, what about like you get a lot of people on here and you talk about their journey and whatnot, but I don't think a lot of people see what goes on in the background as well, and as many hats that you sort of wear in that. What do you see like with the team? What are like the main things, like if you're a new agent right now, what are like the main, like let's say 2 or 3 main mistakes that you see agents make every day that if they just tweak those, they could really just go to the next level?
Yeah, like you sort of know when you meet someone that's going to be successful, and I sort of know when I meet someone that I think is just going to be okay. And I sit in front of them all the time. Like they're coming to me and they want to talk about joining Freedom. You know, they just want to get into real estate, and you can sense like this person's not going to kill it, but they're going to be okay. You know, and I love it when I find and sit in front of someone and I'm like, oh my God, this person's going to kill it, because they're very rare. They very rarely pop up. You know, you had that. We've got some agents in the brand that have definitely got that. They're just all in on real estate, you know, and they don't make excuses. Like there's a lot of people that, you know, they're talking to me and they're asking me questions like, you know, like, what do I need to do? And like, oh, how do I do this? And I'm like, you know exactly what you need to do. Like, you know exactly what you need to do in this business. Like you don't have to change the script, and we've built everything for you. So it's just people like, do they want to learn? Like how badly do they want it? You know, like I don't know, maybe some people are too comfortable or whatever it is, but you know, like for me right now, like I'm loving this transition into becoming the leader of the brand and also being there to support so many people. But I also like to stay sharp and be involved in my team. So I'm still doing the listing presentations, the negotiations, you know, doing, you know, some of the buyer work there with some of our hottest buyers and, you know, managing the sellers. But you know, I like to still do that because it keeps my power of like understanding where this business is at. But yeah, like there's
you understand the business a bit more. In it,
definitely.
You can still be on it, but you need to be in it every now and again to understand it. But
it does put me in having a lot of hats on every day, like you say. Like you know, I'm running the brand, we're running a rent care, we've got you know, the agents, we're building the courses, and, you know, there's just so many things to do, my own sales business. So yeah, it does. And then this is what you'll find as your team grows, you'll be taking away a little bit from certain things that you're really good at. And if you can plug those holes with the right people, and that's, I think that's what I've done well. Like I've never been like, oh, I need to do that, or I need to be the person that does that, or like really want to do it either. You know, like we got our media crew here today. You know, we had the events people organize all of this. I didn't even know what time you guys were rocking up. You know what I mean? Like I just go with the flow. You know, and I think what you guys are doing real well at the moment, and what anyone should be doing if they want to be the leader of their team or the leader of their business, is they need to be out front producing content, like a lot of it, you know, spreading the message of your brand and spreading the message of who you are, what you stand for, what your business stands for. And if you can just stay on that and just keep that business flowing into you, and then build the support network around you, people that don't want to do that necessarily, but they want to do all of this. That's where you got to be.
So true. And like around that branding and content as well, like being ruthless with that as well. It's like, it's almost like the new newspaper. It's been like that for ages, but like, it's almost, you imagine if like every time you're doing a content, it's like dropping a newspaper on someone's door. Like imagine if you're dropping 50 of them on someone's door every bloody month or whatever. You
Seriously.
know? And the big thing that we're finding now, like you'll get Arjun on soon, and he'll speak about it a little bit, is that your social media will get to a point where it will generate more leads than anything else. We're at that point now. Like I'm talking 3 or 4 DMs a week with listings.
Nice.
You know, so, you know, you'll probably think twice where you spend your marketing dollars when you do that.
Definitely.
You know, what happens a lot in Darwin as well is that, you know, a lot of people spend money on places like realestate.com and all that, and realestate.com is awesome. But, you know, it's, you know, essentially it's another company and they control your marketing, whereas social media, you have total control. And you control the leads when they come in. And the best thing is, it's like that snowball effect. Once you really get it to a point, it's just keeps coming, you know.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people ask me like, how do you list I think, what are we in? What's the date today? Like February or something?
You list like 65 properties in 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah. People just like,
It's insane.
yeah, it's pretty, yeah.
Joshy Teslin, bro, they're coming for you. Like, that's a listing machine right there. Like,
Something like that.
seriously. But like, that's the kind of listing numbers that they're doing. Like, there's not many people in the country listing, and we're not talking about you listing developments or land sites or anything like that. That's like straight single properties, you know, like
Yeah. So
crazy.
Yeah. So, but that it really does get to that point of momentum, and a lot of people look at it. Like Tom Panos has a really good saying where don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10, and that's so true. And I used to do it a little bit with you.
Yeah.
I've been chasing you for so long.
Yeah.
In a real good way.
Yeah,
not in a
definitely.
bad way.
No.
Like
Great.
on the dashboard, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's who I want to be, and that's
Yeah.
who I want to chase down, and I'm
Definitely.
going to get him. You know.
Yeah.
And it's just driven me like because I'm competitive. You know. So I think a lot of people look at our social media now and they're like, oh, you just got to post on social media. I'm like, no, you don't just post 1 week. I've been doing this for 4 years, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well, like that's the thing. It's like, how big do you want your business to be? Like, if you want it to be okay, then post once a day, you know, 3-4 times a week, you know. But if you want a seriously amazing business, post 100 times this week.
Yeah.
Post 500 times this week.
Yeah.
And see how big your business gets. It's just literally like, how big's your business? That's how much more you're going to be posting.
Yeah, and also like a lot of people think about social media as they're like, oh, everyone goes into like brand and it's they want to like all this complicated crap, and it's just you don't need to do that. You've got 2,000 homes that need to know who you are.
Yeah.
So just shut up and post something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these people try and complicate it. And it's
Yeah.
just like, man, like I'm the most simple person you'll ever meet. Stop
Yeah.
complicating it.
Seriously.
For sure, once you get a bit of a following and you want someone to know you as a certain type of agent, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you just got to be yourself. I can't be like when I first started, all I had was you to mentor me. Like, I'd been in real estate for 10 months and I started the company. So every time I was doing something, I was like, well, how did Josh do it? But what happened over time is like, I couldn't do it like you.
Yeah.
I had to do it like me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's a bit rough. I thought, people probably won't resonate, but they loved it because it was me. It was,
and even if they don't like it, you'd rather not like you for being you than being not like you for being somebody else.
Arjun's a great example. Like when he first came in the office, like he came from another work environment, was like, would really clip his wings. Wear this, you got to talk like this, you got to do that. And I came in, I was like, man, all I care is that you pick the phone up, put it back down.
Yeah.
And then do it again.
Yeah.
And just keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and the way I run my team too is I'm way different, you know. So I'm like, when Arjun first started, he was a buyer manager. He booked a listing presentation. He'd never done a listing pres before. I'm like, you good to run this one?
Yeah.
We'll be at the door. Knock on the door. You good to run this one? He goes, what? I'm like, yeah, you're running it.
Nice.
He goes, well, I don't know what to say. I'm like, oh, I'm not
Figure it
talking.
out. Yeah.
I'm not talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, right. Oh, hey, I'm Arjun. Right. Killed it. Listed it. Never done a listing presentation.
So good.
Why? How can he list it? Doesn't even know how to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
Seriously, like he's like, I'm like, no, it's all good. I'll do that stuff. You just talk to him.
Yeah.
Just ask some questions. And like from that start, from that time, that's why I think I've created with a team why it grows so rapidly is that I want them to fall flat on their face 50 times.
Definitely.
Because that's what I did.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to jump in your listing presentations and baby you through your listing and make sure you get it. I want to sit there and be quiet and like stuff it up completely.
Yeah.
I want you to feel that awkwardness of you stuffing it up and walking out without the listing, because now he hates me going to him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, no, I got this.
Yeah.
You know?
So good. So good. And at the end of the day, you know, like your sellers respect that even more.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you don't want to, if you're not the best agent, if you're not, you know, you haven't got all the runs on the board, you don't want to go into a listing presentation and trick the seller into thinking that you are that person.
No.
So you're better off to be upfront with them and say, well, listen, I haven't done many presentations before, and you know, like I'm not as maybe experienced as some of the agents you're going to be meeting, but I tell you what, you know, I need this listing.
Yeah.
You know, and get into it that way.
Yeah.
And your sellers will respect that way more than you trying to trick them into thinking you're the number one agent in town.
Best thing you could say at a listing presentation if you're a new person is like what we do in the listing process is bring the buyers up and go, look, I don't want to give you my opinion on your listing. I want to give you the buyer's opinion. You can have 3 agents through here and they'll tell you a price. They'll probably all be wrong.
Yeah.
But 10 buyers are not going to be wrong.
Yeah.
So you're happy if I bring someone through Thursday?
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, nice.
And it's like, and like, let's say you might even say to them, look, can I list your property for 2 weeks? That's a 2-week period for you to prove yourself.
Yeah.
The amount of listings that I list for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, they'll do whatever marketing package I want because they're like, I don't care. I just want to stay with you.
Nice.
Like that's like really, and like that's something I've learned from a brand new agent like Arjun. Never been.
That's like an off-market situation for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll be like, look, give it to me for 2 weeks, and this is what Arjun and I do together. And we'll say, give it to us for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, you don't like us, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And because I'm so confident.
Yeah.
I'm like, once you jump on with us, you're gonna want to stay.
Nice.
And like the amount that do for 2 weeks, and they're like, yeah, we'll just stay with you.
Yeah.
No problems, and we'll market the property. But the thing is like, and this is, I think the industry needs to learn this, is like, you are not in a listing presentation to get someone's business. You are in a listing presentation to provide value for their lives. Like, if you are sitting there and selling is not the right thing, tell them.
Seriously.
Guys, like the biggest one that I run into, because Darwin's got transient. People go, oh, we're going to sell and we're going to buy in Adelaide. Like, why are you buying in Adelaide for? Have you ever lived there before? And they're like, no. And I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, have you got a mortgage on this? They're like, not really. I'm like, so the rent, we have the highest rental yields in Darwin. So you're going to get $850 a week for this. Yeah. And you can go rent something for $650 there. So you're going to be $250. You're good. Yeah. And then if you don't like it, you can come back. Yeah. And the amount of people that list through me when I say that is like, I'm like, guys, I don't want to sell your house. Like, I don't think you're not doing the right thing here. Definitely. And the amount of people that sit there and go, man, thank you so much for your honesty. Yeah. And they'll go down there for 12 months. Some will even come back, but some will go down there for 6 months and go, I'm happy here, Jacob. Here's your listing. Absolutely. And there's no like, oh, can you cut your fee? Or can you, Jacob, I will listen to your advice because I'm honest. Yeah. You're playing the long game, like you're playing the real estate game. You're not just trying to get a commission. You're not just trying to get a check. Yeah. You're trying to, do what's right for your future customer. And that's what's going to, spread around town. And that's how you get that repeat referral client, So true. It's like, it's not about the money. It's about, making a sale when the sale's supposed to be happening, Yeah, it's true. Real estate agents, what if you had a course that could give you all of the tools needed to absolutely kill it in 2025? I've built this course. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I've listed thousands of properties, and I want to give this course to you now. I used to sell this course for $2,000 a pop, and now I'm going to give it to the first 100 people for absolutely free. It's yours for the taking. Snap it up. I don't know if you found this in your business though, whether like you're going into your listing presentations and the conversations are very different. They're not about like, they're not like selling yourself. Get the most amount of money and stuff. It's not even never about that, is it? Anymore. Like it's just, you're more like educating them on what real estate and how to invest in property and why they're investing in property and what the market's going to do, where it's going to go, what, like talking about their history, their, how they've been so successful to buy this home and the homes that they've got, like that sort of stuff. Yeah. And when you like, or even if you just go like, this guy I'm talking to at the moment has got 3 houses. He's got a house, he wants $850 for it. I know I've got a buyer there that will pay $900, but he's got to sell these 3 houses, right? And he goes, I'm going to sell all 3 this year. I'm like, okay, have you spoke to your accountant? And he goes, no. And I was like, speak to him first. Yeah. And every other agent he spoke to sent him this is my proposal, the promptly thing or whatever the hell they do. And I was the only one that said, speak to your accountant. He goes, well, I haven't really got a good one. I'm like, here's something. I'm like, do you own a company? He goes, no, I'm an employee. Okay, speak to this guy. He'll be good for you. Yeah. And then he rang me straight back. He goes, thank you so much. I didn't realize I could do this. Hundreds of thousands. Oh, yeah. He's like, I didn't realize I could do this, this, and this. And then I could roll over this from this year. I'm like, that's all good, mate. And he goes, I want to sell this one. I'm like, oh, cool. And I didn't even see the house. He goes, no, just send me over the paperwork. Yeah. And I'm like, don't even see the house. So that's like when people talk about volume of listings, like there's a lot of situations that I run into that where I was speaking to KP about this and he goes, oh, how do you run your listing presentation? I'm like, a lot of the time we'll bring a videographer or even I'll send Arjun. Yeah. Because I'll just be like, well, this person's already made the decision. I don't need to be at the listing pres. Yeah. I don't need to be there. Arjun needs to be there to, answer any questions, get the paperwork, get it sorted, and then make sure the media is sorted. And then obviously I'll do the negotiations and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of it is like, you'll be surprised that when you do take that long game, all your systems in your business become a bit easier. Yeah. And people are happy to deal with you and they're happy to deal with maybe Arjun or deal with a second agent because they know that you're heading this ship. Yeah. And they're like, okay, cool. I trust this guy. So good. So good. Yeah, you're building a beast there. Yeah. The Alex Hormozy did a podcast with Darwin's CEO recently and talked about like burning the boats. Yeah. So like when they went over for war back in the day, like they would sail over to the island that they're fighting and they would burn their boats because they're like, we ain't coming home unless we win this war. Yeah, I love what I mean? And like that's what you're doing in real estate right now. You have completely burnt the boats and you're like, we're all in. Everyone's all in. If you're not all in, don't be here because this is what we're going for. And you've created a team of A players and, you're just going to kill it with that sort of mentality around you. Yeah, and you don't realize, like, what I didn't realize is that the the biggest reason why you're successful is the people around you. I didn't realize that at the start. I just thought it's all work ethic, it's all that. But now like you look at, like, for instance, the people we have in our office, like you look at Stephanie Carter, she's second top lister right now. She's been in real estate for 12 months. You know, you look at Arjun, look at the numbers he's done. He wrote, what, 160 in 6 weeks.
Crazy.
You know, you look at Amesh, he's on the leaderboard for listings. You know, what, Arjun's third in the company right now for commission. Like, all of these things that you're just like, holy crap, it's actually not about me. It's about how good the people are around me. And
seriously,
I've just got a job to do in my company, and everyone else has the job to do. And as long as we all stay in our swimming lanes, that's everything will be okay.
The more successful they are, the more successful you are. It's all like swings and roundabouts. You get more fulfillment of them being more successful, and then you're way more fulfilled. You know, so it's like a win. Everyone's winning. It's so sick. It's it's and that's like, it's capitalism as well. Like they'll pay it back to you one day, because when it's time, you'll let them become the leader. And they will step up and become the leader, and they can be that leader, and that's what you naturally want. You know? So it's like, that's the perfect way of doing things. You know, I did the same thing with Randall. I came through the ranks, and eventually he stepped aside, and I've rose up. You know, and it's the same with people inside my business. They're stepping up and taking different parts of the business on. You know, I don't have to think about media. I don't have to think about operations. I don't have to think about finance anymore, because I've got people that are just like, there you go. That's
man. Like, even just the feeling of seeing someone else be successful. Like, I say this to the team all the time. Like, I still get kicks out of listing and selling, because that's what I love doing. It's more about adding value for the vendors and getting the right house for the buyer and all that. But my favorite part of my job now is watching. Got so emotional, bro. Like at the awards, when I saw Arjun get his award, I saw Steph get an award, and I was like, holy shit. I was like trying to hold it together. I was like, come on. You're right. And I always look at you like, tear up. I'm like, what the hell? You know? And then, like, Arjun went up to him, I'm like, oh, let's hang on. All right, you're okay.
No, it's just nice, like, when people finally, like, they click it in real estate, and they're like, oh my god, I've got a career. I've got a business. I know how to make money. Like the killers in real estate, they could go away for 3, 4, 5 months, and they could come back and feel no pressure about being successful again. Because now they know how to make money. And we've taught them how to make money. And that's a powerful thing in your life. Now you know how to do this, and you're like, I can do this. Whenever I want to do it, I can do it.
So true.
And that's just such a nice thing to give people, you know, that, you know, you don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. All you have to worry about is just coming in and just being a better person and looking after yourself, and, you know, like doing the work, and you're going to be fine.
The weirdest thing for me though is like, you know, the conversations I used to have with you, because I had a real issue with self-belief. You know, that was my main thing. Everything else I was okay with, like work ethic, and you'd be like, make 200 phone calls, I'd make 300. Whatever you told me I'd do. And I would have all these conversations with you. You're like, man, you're going to do this. Like, you're going to kill it. And you know what I mean? Like, but I didn't believe it, but I did it anyway. But I'm now in your shoes with my team. And they're like, really? Can I do this? I'm like, I'm telling you, you're better than I am. Like, you're like, look at this lady in our team, Stephanie Carter, and she's owned businesses before. And like when she first started, she was running her food business at night. So she'd get home, she'd get up at like 3 a.m, cook, deliver all her food and meals and stuff, come into the office, make 40 phone calls, and then do all her listing presentations, and then put the kid to bed. And you're like, what? And she was like, I don't know if I can make it. I'm like, you're better than me.
You're the hardest worker I've ever met.
You're going to kill me. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, I couldn't do that. Like, so it's like, and I'm having these conversations with people, and all of a sudden it's starting to work. The coolest thing ever happened the other day where Steph and I were on this listing a while back, and we sold it off market, and that seller, she was second agent, and that seller called her. That's the best thing ever. It's like, and like Steph called me, oh, this person called me, and it was like my client, but called her, but it gave me such fulfillment, because I'm like, that's a referral for her.
Seriously.
Because she did such a good job that person was like, no, I need to call this person. That's what it's about.
So good.
You know, and she's like, I got this listing, got the referral. I'm like, boom, she's been in real estate for 12 months. You know? That's crazy.
Which is exactly what you try to explain to the buyer's agents. So when they're assisting you at that time, and you're like, listen, like, manage that person well, and they will think of you down the track when they want to sell it again. You know, you're on the back of the listing, manage these buyers well, because they're going to give you their listings that they buy down the track. You know, and they don't fully believe it at the start, do they? They're like, oh, yeah, I don't know. And you're like, no, seriously, you just make these calls. And then 3-4 years time, they're an agent, and they're doing well, and that person remembers them from that moment, and they're like, that's my agent.
Oh yeah. Or even like the really simple things. Like I look at the stuff like Steph does. Mate, every Sunday she has an ice cream giveaway, and she sits out the front of her property and just has a thing that has free ice cream for the kids.
Jesus.
On a Sunday arvo.
Yeah, wow.
She just like, and just does it with her husband.
Yeah.
And just sits on the side of the road just for the community. Just to give away free ice creams for people. Like has an esky, and mate, she's listed like 3 or 4 properties off the back of it. Because
so
it's
good.
in her area.
Yeah.
People just drive by like free ice cream. Sweet. Like, oh yeah,
So
where do you
good.
live? I live
Wow.
at 62 Vernier Circuit. And you're like, oh yeah, database. And the great thing is, there's a QR code, you put your details in, you put your address in, boom.
Wow.
And it's just like, it's such a different way of doing things. Like,
Yeah.
especially that's what I like about you, like always trying to come up with different ways to basically speak to people. So like, rather than door knocking, why don't you stand at the front of your house with a bunch of ice creams? And it's like a family thing too. Her daughter's seen her mum put in the work. The husband's there like waving people down, and it's like, it's old school, but it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just talking to people about, hey, you want some ice cream? Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, you got a house to sell? Oh, cool. You know, like
Seriously. Yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah. If you can combine that like modern day marketing, which is what you guys are doing, with the hard work and the work ethic, it's and then having the skills as well to close and, you know, to get the business and being confident, all that sort of stuff. Sky's the limit for a real estate agent if they do all of those things.
Yeah, and just thinking outside the box, you know, like do what works for you. There's so many different ways to do this thing, you know.
What would you say to that agent right now who's like, they're just not living up to their potential, you know, like they're probably making their 25, 30 sales a year, but they could definitely do 100. But they're pretty comfy, you know, like they enjoy like going in the office and going home at 4 o'clock, and you know, they're just, you know, they're pretty comfortable, but like what have you got to say to them? Like maybe not all of you, because not all of you want to be that person. Not everybody wants to be 100 sales a year person, you know, and that's okay. Like there's no problems with that. That's why we call it freedom. But I think deep down a lot of them do want that as well. And as you know, it's not necessarily going to get any harder the more sales you make.
No.
It doesn't get harder. There's a few more different stresses, but it's stressful not making those sales too. So just pick your stress.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person?
I'd probably ask them a few questions on why they want it first. That's probably the main thing, because there's a lot of fulfillment in struggle. You know, like there really is, like going through the journey, and now I actually really enjoyed a lot of it. So it's asking them questions like, why are they doing this? Are they doing this to buy a Range Rover, or are they doing this to change people's lives? Like, do you want people to look at you in the community and go, oh, it's a really good person, I want to deal with them? Or
like both.
Hey?
Both.
Whatever. Whatever it is. But like for me, there's a lot of agents out there that want to buy the nice house, and that's all good. You can do that. But if your main priority is to give people great service and change your life, perfect.
Definitely.
You know, so I would ask them that first. And if the answer was, yeah, look, I really want to work hard, change my family's life and create results for people, what I would say to them is they have to manufacture a stressful environment. Because there's I think Mike Tyson said it in a podcast one time, and it just sat with me for ages. Is like, there's no success without struggle. Yeah. And you need the struggle. The struggle's the part that creates the successful agent. So what I would say to them is, if you're writing those sorts of numbers, you've probably got a little bit of money in your bank account. I would probably talk to my accountant, figure out my profit and loss, and I would try and run, let's say I'm making an extra 15 grand a month, whatever that is, turn that into a wage bill. Yep. And I'd make sure that I don't make any money, you know, so figure out your swimming lanes and go, okay, why aren't I making this amount of money, or how do I get to this point? So for me, was the way I got to the next level. I was like, I need to hire someone on really good money to manage my emails. I don't want to touch my emails. I don't want to do any admin at all. Yeah. I want all my emails to be filed, and any of the headaches, I'll attack at 9:30 in the morning and then hit the calls. So, but the main thing is just creating that stressful environment. Like we've got an agent at Freedom at the moment. I won't say his name, but I remember when I first met him, I thought this is going to sound crazy, but I thought he was going to be the number one in Queensland in like 3 years. Yeah. Like when I first met him, I was like, this guy is, he taught me how to do calls and stuff. Like I remember when I first, you remember when I first came to the office, there was that little den. I remember watching him hit the phones, and I was just like, I've got to stay so close to this guy, because this guy's going to teach me heaps. And he just, it just came too easy for him. Yeah. And I was speaking to him at the awards, and he goes, what do you think I do? I'm like, you need to manufacture a stressful environment. Yeah. And that comes from spending all your money on something. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you lose 300 grand, because the lesson's way more valuable for you than that 300 grand right now. and he hopefully listened to it. We'll see what he comes up
Yeah,
with.
absolutely. Yeah, you can get a little bit too comfortable sometimes.
It's the
It's stressful selling 100 houses a year, but it's also stressful selling 10.
yeah,
But pick your stress.
but it's not. It's like people look at stress like it's a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing.
Yeah.
You don't like you. I know a lot of people that are comfortable. Like a lot of people, we know a few people like this that have made it and have made money, and they're so lost. Like it's a really lonely place to be when you've made all this money. You have this amazing house, and you're like, what now? Like we know a lot of people like that. So this stressful part is probably the most exciting. So you should just lap it up and really go after it. you know?
Yeah, I was reading something the other day. It was 20s is all about the destination. The 30s is all about the journey. And then the 40s is about the people you're doing it with.
So true.
You know, so that's where we're coming into. We're not quite in the 40s yet.
Yeah. How old are you these days?
I'm in the 30s still.
Late 30s.
Yeah, somewhere in there. But yeah, no, look, stoked to have you here, bro. Going to get a couple of the other lads on the potty now and have a chat. And we'll have some fun later. Go for a swim or something, eh?
Legend, yeah. Thanks for having me, and also, thanks for everything you're doing at Freedom and stuff, mate. You've been massive for me, and like if you're an agent working in the office and you're working for Joshy, you're very lucky and you should make the most out of your opportunity. So, and if you're watching this and you want some advice, not that I give it out that much, give me a call. Be happy to help.
Definitely should. Awesome, brother. Cheers.
Cheers.